Good evening. What we're going to do this evening is we're going to go through the evening as to what we do with 16 odd hours of night time. The time now is 4:30. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so like 16, 17 odd hours, you know, between now and when we get up in the morning. Now, what I tend to do when I start my evening is obviously the first thing you need to do, and it's absolutely critical to a successful evening, is have some tea. What I suggest that you do is make sure that you know where your head torch is, because quite clearly you're going to be needing that quite soon. So I always keep my head torch in the top left hand corner, so I know exactly, you know, where it is at all times. So if it's not on my head, that's kind of like the one thing that I always want to know exactly where it is. Now, because you're out for many hours, you might want to have a second torch battery spare. So I've got a petrol torch here, and what I was doing just earlier was, well, I was charging it up anyway. So that is now ready for effectively tomorrow, because I have an already charged up battery in there. So if perchance that battery, you know, ran out during the night, which I don't think it will, but if it did, then I have a fully charged spare battery, and we will keep the battery, because it's cold, in the sleeping bag. You probably ought to put it inside something so it's easy to find, but because I'm a lazy SOB, I tend to just chuck things in loose. So we tend to do a little bit of housework at this time. So I've got some power going into my phone, and I've got some power going into my other phone. I have two phones. One is my phone, and the other is my camera and video and that type of thing, plus a backup phone as well. And then I might have other things in here. So batteries for GoPro, which I charged up earlier, they're in here, and that's about it at the moment. So, you know, you want to keep all batteries and things like that, you know, as warm and cozy as you possibly can. So, you know, things like that keep inside the sleeping bag. So I'm going to carry on with my cup of tea, and we will basically just share the evening together as it goes, and I will show you, you know, how you can while away, you know, 16 odd hours of darkness, and it's really not so bad. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's relaxing. Just have, you know, a few things to do, a few housework chore things to do while you're in camp, and time soon disappears. I'm going to finish my tea. And obviously, when you finish your first cup of tea, then you need to make a second cup of tea. Because it's not that I'm addicted to tea, although I probably am. I probably am a teaaholic. After a long day of, in my case, doing nothing, but after a long day in the hills, then obviously, you know, you need to hydrate yourself. What better way to do some hydrating is with a second cup of tea. So obviously we get the kettle on, and we're going to have another cup of tea. And basically what we're doing is we're going to drink tea, and we're watching a film here. I've taken the legs off because the camera's on I'm using the legs there, but I'm just watching an old Peter Sellers, the Pink Panther, the original one, the very first one. And obviously, never to be outdone, we've got Lassie over there nosing her food. God alone knows what she's really doing with it, but she's doing her funny nose business. We did just have another GoPro Hero 11 crash. So if you hear people saying, these YouTube channels who, you know, these big YouTube channels that are saying that the GoPro Hero 11 never crashes. It crashed once when I was with Chris, and it just crashed just now. In other words, I was trying to touch the screen at the back so I could see what I was looking at when I was pointing it to Lassie, and it wouldn't turn on. And then I tried to turn the recording off, and it wouldn't turn off. So I had to press and hold the power button for about 20 or 30 seconds to do a hard reboot. And basically when you press the side button and hold it for a very long time, it shuts it down, the same as taking the battery out. So it kind of saves saves the hassle of taking the battery out. And it then says repairing file, and it then says file repaired, and then it turns back on again, and we carry on. So hopefully that's our one crash of this trip. But we will, we will see. We will see whether that was a one-off crash or not. If it starts to get a little bit cool in camp, then obviously, just make sure that you have gloves handy. So if your hands start to cool off, you've got those close to hand. And make sure that you're tucked up nice and cozy in your bed. And I like to wear my warm jacket in bed. And then that way, when I'm sitting up, which is what I do, most of the time, because I'm usually watching something, making tea or preparing food, then most of the time I'm sitting up like this. So my top half of the body, or top third of the body, is kind of out of the sleeping bag. So I always like to have my jacket on, and quite often I'll have my hood up. And as long as your jacket is warm enough, even in a single skin shelter like this with no inner, you're fine. And in fact, it'll be interesting to see whether we get much condensation this evening, versus last night. Anyway, we're going to be making another cup of tea, so just make sure that your tea stuff is handy, like that. I'm a little bit naughty. I tend to use sweeteners. I think that's pretty much done now. You can blow that one out quite easily. And the tea bag, I kind of stewed in there. Maybe if I do it that way round, you might actually see me pouring it. I can't really win, can I? Because when I do it the other way, when I do it that way, the pan's lit up, but you're only seeing the pan. And when I do it that way, because it's facing away from the light, you still can't see anything. I don't think we're quite gonna make the poor Messner thing of editing here. That bloke must go into so much hassle and pain for editing. In my neck. Then the next thing that we need to do is soup. It's only 5:30 and it's quite dark out there now. Now, if you take your gloves off, what I suggest that you do is that you put them inside the sleeping bag, because then that just helps to, you know, just stop them cooling off. And if you spread your food out over a couple of hours, it's kind of surprising how time shifts. And the GoPro Hero 11 has once again crashed. So let's hold the power button in. Keep holding it. And keep holding it. GoPro! My hand's bloody dying. Keep holding it. Oh, bloody hell. You're not going to turn off this time. Oh. Or maybe I need to take my finger off it. Repairing file. Repairing file. File repaired. Turning back on. There we go. Same old GoPro nonsense. When are they ever going to sort that out? Maybe it's the cold weather. Oh God almighty. And eventually your water comes to the boil. You kind of have to be a bit patient with maths. Mind you, there's a lot of water in there. And cup of soup is, that really has boiled. And cup of soup is really good for camping because it's very, very light. And there's probably quite a lot of salt in it, which is good when you've been walking a lot. I think I put a bit too, I think I overdid it slightly. And in a nutshell, that's soup taken care of. And dinner's not going to be very much or exciting here. We don't have a Paul Messner steak this evening. We'll maybe do that. Maybe do that another time. So I'm going to let that cool off for a minute, and that is soup taken care of. Get yourself nice and cozy, and if you feel cold, put extra layers on. Wrap yourself up. Do your sleeping bag up tight around you. Pull in draw cords and things like that. Make sure your hood is up, especially when you're in an open shelter, you know, like this. And you'll be nice and cozy, even though we've got air flowing around everywhere. I'm gonna have my soup. I'll see you for the next course.
Without an invitation, how could such a child surpass your vows?
Where the phantom is concerned, Your Highness.
Dinner. On to rehydrate. No steaks today, just a naked Korean style barbecue beef. And voila, dinner is served. I'm going to eat that now and enjoy it. And while I'm eating it, I'm going to put some power into my microphone here because I can see that the battery is getting quite low. Interesting, it suddenly stopped there. So while I'm eating, I'm going to do a bit of charging of this microphone until later. And remember, take all your rubbish home with you. So don't do what I usually do and leave your rubbish lying around until the next morning. Try and be a little bit organised in camp and put your rubbish away like that. Be a good Boy Scout. And if you ever have to dash off in the night for a poop or anything, then you just take your rubbish bag with you. You've got your toilet paper in there. Well, that's where I keep mine, separate in there, but it's in there. And then I need to do a number two. I do your number two, and then there's usually a wrapper or, you know, like a food packet where you can put your toilet paper. So make sure that you take your toilet paper out with you. Obviously you can leave your leave your poop behind, obviously, but you could carry that out, but I don't think many people go to that extreme. And then when you have eaten, it's of course time for another cup of tea. And now the time is, you know, it's about 10 past 7. It's about 10 past 7 and we've had our dinner now. We've eaten. You could do a Patrick Dickinson and have a dessert. Let's try that one day. All these big YouTubers munching away. I think I might bring a dessert with me and have a pudding sometime. Anyway, I'm gonna carry on chilling out in camp. Feeling a little bit tired. I've nearly nodded off a couple of times, but I've partly woken up now. So I think I'm going to enjoy my tea and a bit of a stretch. Very cozy here. So I'm going to have my tea and finish off the Pink Panther. We nearly finished that now. The time is 9:15. Probably fairly soon put my head down. What is the audio like of this particular piece of footage? The reason why I ask, I have all 3 mics in there charged up, and what I bought from Amazon was one of those foam wind muff things, which means that you can't attach the light to it. So you got to kind of hold it with your hand, or hold it in your other hand like that. So I'm kind of curious as to, I've seen a few people using them, so I thought for want of a couple of quid it might be worth me just getting one and having a look. But basically, in camp we are drinking another tea. We've had more crackers because I was a bit hungry still. We're watching a film or a series. As you can see, we've taken the media mod off and we're just using this muff. Last night dog came over there. I don't really like her on my Cuban fiber sheet, and she's got her own mat. She's got literally, you know, a sheet there. She chooses to do what she wants to do. I just don't want her on my Cuban fiber, so she's got a foam mat here which I wouldn't be averse to her, you know, sleeping on if she wanted to, although I like this bit handy for myself. She's got her bed there which is dry, and you will notice the foam mat is stretched under her bed there. I must admit, it wouldn't be the first time that I've used that foam mat for myself for some nefarious reason or other, and let the poor dog suffer on warm grass in the spring, summer and autumn. But in the winter, when it's a bit colder, I do put something down for her. But as you can see, she's just settled down on the grass over there. You put a nice mat down, bit of warmth, and she still goes on the grass. So often, especially in the spring, summer, autumn, I don't even bother bringing a bed for her because she simply doesn't use it. So really, you've had a little bit of a taste of how, you know, my evening goes, you know. Like I said, it's coming up to 9:30. We started at 4:30. So, you know, 5 hours have passed. Yeah. You know, and in the middle of summer, you'd still have an hour of daylight left, you know, virtually 10 o'clock or after. And it's been, you know, dark for the last 5 odd hours. It's certainly, you know, a very strange thing. We've not heard any beastly sounds. I was hoping I could report hearing the beast of Dartmoor. I thought if I said I'd heard lots of beastly sounds, I thought I could maybe get in the newspapers. Tony hears beastly sounds. They probably wouldn't put it in the newspaper anyway, because they probably just think, oh, he's just gone mad again. No different. He's just hearing the usual things inside his own head. So I don't think I'd be lucky enough to make the local press. Maybe there's the Tony Nutter press. So we've certainly not heard nor seen anything at all. It's been very, very quiet and relaxing. So basically, get into camp. You don't need booze. Take booze if you want, if you must. You know, if it fills up your if you need booze for your sad miserable lives, then take your cans of lager and your whiskies and your I'm just taking the piss. My parents drink, well, not so much these days actually, but they used to. Bit too much, mum. Anyway. I'm not a big fan of the older alcohol. I've seen what it can do. But anyway, if you want to take a drink, that's fine. Go and take a drink. What you take is up to you. If you wanna lug cans of lager up the hills, be my guest. The important thing is, though, the people that do it are the proper campers like us that know well enough, to take those cans back out again. It's the miserable people that just camp 2 minutes from their car and then just leave all their mess by the side of the road that gives the rest of us a bad name. Mind you, I've been giving us a bad name for the last 10 years. I'll carry on trying to give us a bad name for the next 10 years. Alright, so tomorrow we might just have a look at this and that. I've got a couple of watch videos I want to try and do. So we've got a bit to do tomorrow. Whether I can get round to doing it's a different matter. But we'll kind of see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so this is basically our evening. Eating, drinking, just relaxing. If you've got, correspondence to catch up on your phone, you can do that. If you want to watch a film or a documentary or a series, listen to your radio. You might just want to look at the stars and just relax. Maybe bring a book you can read. There's all sorts of things that you can do out here. You could bring your girlfriend with you. If you could bring your boyfriend if you're into that. You can have some extracurricular activities out here. Would be nice. Can imagine that would be nice. You can plan things, plot things. I'm sure there are plenty of things that you can do when you are out here relaxing and chilling out. Alright, until the morning, we'll go through breakfast, I think, because that's still part of the 16 hour thing, give or take. So we'll do breakfast as well. Hopefully I remember. Until the morning. Good morning, everybody. I literally have just woken up. Well, I woke up, obviously turned the camera on, and then woke up again. Obviously, because everything's warm, the mat is warm. and just put all my battery stuff there that I'm lying on. I'll even put my hat there for a minute. Oh God. And the time. Oh, I got all the stuff there. Oh. I just used the GoPro 10, I think. 11. Oh, there's a GoPro 11 up there. That's strange. Yeah, it is strange. Okay, so we're using the GoPro 11 for that. Oh, dear God. Alright, well, it's nearly as makes no difference. It's nearly 10 o'clock. The Garmin is now seems to have a new good morning feature on it. 9:50, Saturday the 19th. Good morning. Right. Wow. It's a warm, sunny day, and it's the middle of November, and I'm sitting outside of my sleeping bag with simply a t-shirt. Oh well, okay, a t-shirt, a shirt, and a fleece on, and no jacket, lightweight leggings, and for the moment no socks. So I'll probably put them on later, and it's very cozy. We've got the sun. There's no wind, absolutely no wind, so there's no reason to put fake wind noises in, because there isn't any wind. There isn't any wind, apart from what comes out my backside occasionally. Yeah. And it's really bright. It's almost too bright for my eyes, so I do apologise. You're kind of looking at a squinting me. Let's put you there. So I woke up, I've got out of the sleeping bag, and then I needed to nip off out. Now, regarding pee, what I do is I literally just go out the door. I'm not, once I'm inside the sleeping bag and I'm in camp, settled down, especially once it's cooler. If it's warm, like the middle of summer, then that's fine. Then I don't mind getting out, standing barefoot and walking, you know, a couple of feet from the, you know, from the tent or tarp, shelter, whatever. Then I don't mind walking, you know, like I said, a meter or two, or even a foot or two, you know, from the shelter and having a pee. But once the weather but once the weather turns, or if it's raining, then I'm just not getting out. You know, I just don't see the point, to be honest. I know many of you will be, you know, guffing at what I do, and many of you will be wanting to put your waterproof trousers on and your waterproof leggings on and your boots on, and will want to go and pee because you're all clean and perfect and wonderful and little angels. So, you know, clearly, you know, that's fine. I'm not knocking that at all. And obviously some people take a bottle, and obviously that's fine too. And some of you will think, well, you're a dirty old bugger for what I do. But basically I just go as far as I can go within the confines of what I can kneel on, generally speaking, and I will go. And if that happens to be a patch of earth or a patch of grass within close your ears, within the porch area that's not being used, then that's where I will aim. And you know, it's worked perfectly well for me for the last many years. Yes, I'm probably a bit of a combo, with a dirty character in an old British sitcom, but you know, I really just don't see the point in getting out when it's really, really cold and unpleasant, and I don't particularly want to be carrying the extra weight and bulk of a plastic bottle. I actually did that in the early days. So the early days I used to go out, and then the early days I used to bring a water bottle, you know, an empty bottle to pee in, and I was peeing in it, and I was just finding myself just, you know, tipping it out the door anyway. And I thought, well, if I'm just tipping it outside the door, well then and let's face it, most porches are not exactly, you know, huge porches, so invariably you're going, you know, outside the door anyway. And like I said, you know, sometimes I will go within the confines of the porch if there's an area where I can go where Lass is not going to lie down and I'm not going to be cooking on. That's about it. If my boots are going to go on it, well, they're going to be walking over the, you know, they're going to be clean within a minute of walking anyway. And I don't really see urine as a particularly filthy substance. You know, obviously if you do it too much in the same place, it's not going to be very nice. But I don't see a problem with the occasional pee inside your tent if you have to, if you can find a patch of grass somewhere. So that's actually maybe another reason why I don't like footprints, because that would mess up my peeing abilities. But no, footprints I think are a waste of time anyway. Anyway, so I did have to nip out. So basically when you've eaten your dinner, you put your waste obviously in your rubbish here, and then when you've finished doing your poops, preferably dig a hole and bury your poop. But your paper literally can go in something like that. So that's a pile of Tony poo paper in there for you. An extra super likes down there below for witnessing such horrendous things. And I just usually have a bit of a wet wipe or something like that I just have handy. And obviously don't leave those lying around either. They need to go in there. And then that does up there. And that basically is about 4 or 5 wet wipes that have dried out to save weight. And that goes in with the toilet paper. A bit more toilet paper. Make sure you've got enough. Make sure you've got enough toilet paper. And then that goes in there. So next time you need to dash off to the loo, you've basically got everything that you need handy to go. Literally. And then, so once we've done that and we've come back inside again, as it were, we then need to make breakfast, and that basically entails, I think some people use like cheese and crackers and things like that, but I like to have nice hot porridge for breakfast. Every camp I have porridge. I think it's a bit of a ritual now, that I have porridge come rain, shine, heat, whatever. It's kind of just something good and, I don't know, it's solid, but good and wholesome and whatever. Just, you know, a good bowl of porridge just helps fill you up. Always make sure you've got enough meth. So I finished that one the first like day, as it were. That one I'm still working on. I could have used that one. I've got this very strange habit of lighting my meths and then putting and then putting the water in afterwards. In fact, I've not even had a tea yet, so this one is going to be a cup of tea, because it's 10:30. Literally it shows that I haven't been awake for very long, and it's 10:30 in the morning and I've not had a cup of tea yet. I think I did wake up once in the night and I was tempted to have a cup of tea then, and I was so tired I thought, no, I'm going to put my head back down again, and I did, and the next thing I knew it was 10 o'clock. So that's tea on, that's tea going. See you later. And down here we've got porridge. I think I've overdone the water a little bit, but we'll leave it for a few minutes, maybe even put a bit of fire under it for a minute. And at the same time as that, we're just watching YouTube or a film or something like that. And then once we've really done that, we can then carry on with our day, which may entail packing up, you know, and heading out. And well, I'm not packing up today because I'm staying exactly here and I'm not moving an inch today, and obviously leave no trace. And that's basically how you while away 16 odd hours, you know, in a tent. It's not really rocket science, it's not really difficult, it's not really challenging. Some people seem to make it out as some, you know, big thing that it's, you know, super difficult to do, just because normally, you know, we're able to sit outside for an extra few hours rather than you're doing the same things outside that you'll be doing inside. You might even get a Rick Mail wanking inside. Have a wank. Good old Rick Mail. May he rest in peace too, bless his soul. Oh, the good ones go, don't they? Anyway, you know, so you just do the same stuff inside that you do outside, really. Just, you know, enjoy yourself, have fun, and that's it. Nothing to it. I don't know what all the fuss is about YouTube videos. Like this one will be 16 hours in a tent. Oh, the nightmare of it, the difficulties, the challenges of it. Oh God, don't some of us YouTubers make a mountain have a molehill. Oh dear. Of course, we've not had any real rain this trip, so I can't do YouTuber stuck in a tent in 24 hours of storm weather. We'll try and capitalize on some rain in another video. In this video, look, in this video now, YouTuber stuck in a tent in the middle of November, roasting, getting too hot. It literally is really quite warm in here. I mean, I've taken my jumper off. I mean, this Cuban fiber is acting like a greenhouse almost. And there's no, oh, well, there is condensation. Says here, there is some, but I don't know if there's more or less than last night. But there's definitely some condensation. But I think there is less wind, so it's not being rained in on me. But if you, okay, well, I'll finish that and then I'll do another video on something else. Otherwise, this video just gets sidetracked. Anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this 18-hour, or however many hours it is, because it's now gone 11 o'clock, so 11:30, so 17 odd hours in a tent video. I'll see you in the next one.